Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these lovely wrapped earrings. I'm calling them wrapped with love earrings. So how I came up with this design is I happened to buy these teardrop beads quite a while ago, and I love the color. It's a green with a hint of blue in it. So it's not teal, but it's just a wonderful green. And then I ordered these rondelle beads. Now these are jade. I believe they're dyed jade. Yes. And then I ordered these rondelles later, loving the color again. And then when I'm organizing my beads, because I put them in big boxes, in categories of colors. When I put them together, there they were. They were the exact same color. And I bought them so far apart, like a year probably in between. And I'm going, well, you know, how often does that happen? They're just meant to be together. And I decided I got to make a pair of earrings just because of that. And this is what I came up with. So I'm calling them wrapped with love because, and I love them. I think they're gorgeous. So, this is what you're going to need for supplies. Of course, you don't have to have, the jade rondelles and teardrops. You can use crystals, or, you can use bigger teardrops than I'm using. These are 8x4, which is a pretty standard rondelle size. So you could even have a teardrop of semi-precious stone and use crystal rondelles, whichever you want. I have a little bit of extra wire that if your teardrop is larger, it should be okay. If it's significantly larger, maybe add an inch or an inch and a half extra wire to your design. But I think you're probably good to go if it was just a little bit bigger. So this is what we need for supplies, and I did, well, it's not going to fit the whole thing in. So this is the supplies. I wrote I'm using dead soft wire copper, raw copper. So my rondelles are 8x4 millimeter, and you need 4 of them. You need 2 12x8 teardrops, or whichever size you choose to use, and 2 18-inch pieces of dead soft wire, and which is 45 centimeters. And oh, I didn't put the metric for the gauge. I will adjust that when I put it on the video. What it is 0.81 millimeters. I have that one memorized because I do it so often. And of course, your ear wires of choice. And for tools, it's pretty simple because mainly you're using your fingers. But you will also need your round nose pliers, your chain nose pliers, your flush cutters, and a ruler. So let's get started. Okay, so I want you to take your 2 pieces of your 20 gauge wire and find this middle and give it a bend like this. Not too sharp, but sharp enough, because what we're going to do is we're going to put the beads on them and do the initial swirl that's in front of the bead. And so it's going to wrap around the bead. And one, you're going to put the bead on the right hand side, and the other one, you're going to put the bead on the left hand side. So if you put both of them on the right hand side, just flip it over before you do the swirling. So I really recommend that we do, because we're mirroring, that we do them together, one step at a time. So you see how I didn't have this quite straight? It's not sitting at the bottom. So I'm just going to force that down. And there. So I just pulled the bead and it forced it down. So what it did, it straightened the wire in the middle there. Okay, so the one with the wire, the bead on the left, is we're going to take that and put a swirl. We're going to come around the right side and put a swirl in the middle of the bead, and the wire's catching on my equipment here, but I'm doing the best I can to stay in camera. Okay, like that. And now I'm crossing over. So this is important to do this because it's going to dictate where your wire is going to go next. So I'm crossing over the bead, and the other one we're going to cross over the other direction, and then I'm wrapping around. So we want the wire, when we're done wrapping here, sorry, I'm out of focus there, to be on the right hand side with this bead. So I'm just going to move my other one out of my way because it's catching. And now I'm going to twirl it around, and I want to have 3 full wraps. And it's with this wire here. Don't know why I'm headed over that way. Move over. With that wire there, I am going to, it's going to look like 4 wraps, but it's actually 3. And I find it easier if I just hold the wire and do the bead, twist the bead around. Okay, so now that's where I want it. And then I want this wire on the right hand side on that. So that's how the finish look is with this one. And now I'm going to do the same thing but opposite on the next one. Okay, so I've got the bead on the right hand side this time, and I'm going to wrap around the left and do a swirl in the middle. And we want to make the swirls about the same, or the loop, whatever you want to call it, size. So I want it a little bit tighter. Looks to be in the right position. That looks about right. And I'm crossing over the bead to be on the right hand side of it. And now I'm going to turn the bead to do the wrapping. And I'm doing this because I don't have a loop to put the plier on to hold it still. It's just easier this way. And I want the wire to end up on the bottom to the left. So now they are virtually opposites, like that. Okay. Okay, so then the next step, I've got the first one I took where the wire is on the right hand side. Now I'm going to put one of the rondelles on this wire, and I'm going to push. If those wraps weren't perfect, those wraps won't be seen visually, but I just want them squished down so it's equidistant on both earrings. And we want it straight, so you're making it straight. So these wraps are just basically a spacer. And now I'm going to crisscross over the bead like this and wrap once completely around. So now it's at the front again, and it's the wires at the right hand side. Okay, and then the next bead is going to go on, and again I will compress by pushing the bead down, and now I'm just repeating the same process. Okay, so that's how I want it. And now, just comparing. Now, I will be checking on my prototype on a regular basis because this is fairly tricky to make. I just wanted to show you, I have 3 here to practice for the video. but I did more. So don't expect yourself to get it perfect the first time. So I'm trying to guide you as best I can. See, I have cutaway wire here where I had to practice. This one is my very first one I did, and it's the one I like the best, but duplicating it wasn't always easy. This was the next one. I didn't get that curve there. That is pretty. So that's why you need to make them side by side, is because if you end up with a look like this, you want to do the same look on the other one. And this is my last one I made. I actually maybe like this part a little bit more, but I like this part a little bit more on that one because it's looser. But this ended up being tighter, so I'm going to make, well, we'll see. I'll try to make it looser, and I tried to make it looser on this one, but we just need to make them the same. Every pair will be different. Okay, so I'm checking. Yes, it got it on. We want it to end up in the wire to end up in the front, going to the left. That's what we want. We want it to be in front of this wire. See, and going to the left. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. And now we're going to catch up the other earring to the same part. Okay. Now I probably wrapped it one more time than I did the other, but that's okay. I'm going to push that down with the pliers because I'm not going to be putting a bead on that. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse on this earring. Pushing that bead down, crisscrossing over the front of the bead, looping it around, and coming back. It's got to be on the left-hand side. Okay, make sure it's all straight. Put the next bead on. Compress. Make sure it's straight. Wrap around. Okay. Now that is just once around is what you can do, but since I did it twice or ended up twice around on the other one, I'm going to do the same thing on this one, so they're exactly the same process. There's nothing wrong with doing it twice. It may make it stronger, I'm not sure. Okay, so then the next thing is we need to make the top loops, and we need to make the loops so that the wire ends up right beside this wire. So this one, a normal loop always makes the wire go in front on the left. So we will do a normal loop on this one, and this one we will do a reverse loop so that the wire ends up on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do a loop. You need your round nose pliers, and you can do 2 to 3 wraps. I'll still do 3 wraps even though I have an extra. And I'm gonna bend this wire down to get it out of my way. Here, make sure I'm in view. Okay, push that forward. Make the loop. It's an eye loop. Now I'll try to wrap it on camera. The wire's a little long, so it might hit the camera, but I'll try to be careful. There. Okay. And now I have to make my loop twisted on me. I'm just going to make it forward. And make sure everything's forward for the twists. And I have these wires side by side. Okay. It still isn't quite forward. There. straighten it. Now I'm going to catch up the other one. So this one needs a reverse loop, and which is always more awkward to do. So I'm going to pull this wire down, get it out of my way. So with a reverse loop, instead of having the wire go on the left side, I'm going to have it go on the right side. And wrap around till it meets up with the other wire. And there it is. And it didn't quite go centered with the eye, so I'll fix that. Make sure it's forward. And there, I have it caught up. Okay, so then the next step is to do this swirl, and we want it to look S-like. So kind of, we're doing it loose and swirl around. Now, one of the ones I took apart because it ended up being so straight, and it doesn't look pretty when it's straight. So you want it to have, this one's actually a good example of that. It's a little bit on the straight side, and I want it more S-y. So if you can go for that look, and we're going to be reversed. So whatever direction the wire is, we are going up from it and around. So this one's going up on the left, and this one's going up on the right to make a loop. Okay, and it's finger swirling, of course. So we kind of need it to hold it so that this loop is in the front. These are on the side going forward. Where it crosses over should be in the front. So that way you know it's all lined up. Make sure that's lined up before you start decorating it. And then I've got my thumb putting pressure there, making a loop. And it can be as big as going to the top of your loop that your wire's going to go on. Okay, and then you don't want to close it up. We're going to use that spring to round this. We're going to round this, and that'll help us get the S look. And then we're going to bring it down like that, and up and around. We're going to now bring it around, and we want it to be at the bottom here behind that bead. And then we're going to do a loop. Now it's kind of going to be 3/4. It's kind of going to be on the side and a little bit to the front. We don't want it specifically in the front because we're going to be putting something in between the wires, so we need access. So I'm just flipping it around and doing the swirl. See how I did that? And I'm just double checking, making sure I didn't do it wrong. That one was done wrong. I did do it wrong. I did it reversed. I wonder if I could still do that. Okay, I've got it like that. Nope, it's not going to work. See, it's so easy to do something wrong. This is a difficult pair of earrings, and that loop is the hardest part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to pause it while I do that, and then do it again. And if I do it wrong, then I will keep trying until I get it right. Okay, so see, bear with me, and we all make mistakes. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with a second one caught up with the last error. And I just wanted to show you how I did this. Okay, so these ones are slightly different because the wire crisscrossed on there. And that, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It still looks very similar from the front. So what it does is you're going down to the bottom here. So at the back, at the bottom. Then you go up and kind of make a loop. It's not really a full loop. So that's how I ended up with that funny looking one. Where is that funny looking one? Oh, over here. Because I was trying to do that, but I kind of over exaggerated it. So we're going to go up and back and around. So it's not really a loop. So I'm hugging it like this and then pushing it in because we want to try and follow this curve. Now, doing my other one's going to be difficult because I don't have a prototype for that one. It'll be the first. So hopefully it won't take me too many tries. Okay, so I'm going to try and make this a little bit looser. So I'm actually just putting tension to bend the wires because we want to make a frame for the bottom teardrop. Let me try. Make it look the same on both sides, but it's not going to be perfect, but there we go. I'm happy with that. And now the reason why we needed the loop the way it is because we're going to slip this in there because that's where we're going to finish it off. So it's going to go in there. See, so it kind of changed that. If you want to push that in a little bit, you can. And that's what I did. And I'm pushing this over a little bit because it moved over. And now I'm going to snip this off really close because we're going to tuck two ends in right in there. And you don't want it too long because then it'll show up at the front. So fairly short. Snip. And then I'm just going to kind of crimp that in to hide the ends, which could take a little bit of patience to do, but you got to be careful not to wreck the other wiring. So you need to watch how it bends. And there, it's tucked in. And that one is done. And now we need to do the mirrored one, which will be a challenge. Okay, I'm just adjusting it because it kind of pivoted over. We kind of want it to hug this wire. So I'm just teasing it. And there. I think that's done. Okay, so now the mirrored one. Okay, so it's over here. Just gonna straighten that a little bit. So I'm gonna make a loop, and this loop is kind of reversed of the other one. And it was a big one, so this one we want big as well. Okay, and then crossing over the two beads and going to the back like that. Okay, so now we want I'm going to put all these other ones away so I don't get them confused. So we want to go down, so we're at the bottom. Yes, we are. Then we want to go up the side of the bead and then back down. So I'm going to hold it backwards because I'm right-handed. Oops. So up the side of the bead and then back down so that we can hug the other wiring. Okay, I think that's what we've got there. It's not as loopy as that other one. And now I'm going to try and make it just as loose to go around the bottom. Okay, and through, push it through. Yeah, okay, that's looking okay. Just gonna push that back. This one got a little tighter. I wonder if I can loosen it up a little bit. Okay. And I need to flip the band, so I'm just flipping it forward. Definitely tricky. And now I'm going to snip it off because I don't think I can improve it too much more in the front, but I'm going to do minor adjustments after I got this crimped in. I think I might have it too long. Just a little bit shorter. Now I see that I didn't get enough of a swirl there, but you know, we have to sometimes be happy with our minor imperfections. It's still there. It's not too bad. I'd say it's a good pair. Now it's ready to put the ear wires on. And we'll have to do final adjustments with the loop to make sure that the earrings are sitting right. So you put them on first, and that way you know what way it needs adjusting. Okay, so what you do is you just hold it. Is it sitting forward? And the top looks like it's forward. Now I just find at the bottom, when I adjusted it, I twisted the front. So I'm gonna just fine tune the look. And there. And this one did go kind of straight there. It's very hard to do. It's going to take practice. And I thought I was doing so good with the swirl. Maybe I can just twist it a little bit. There we go. So I put pressure this way. Now we'll have to make sure it's straightened again. Maybe that's when it did it, is when I twisted it to straighten it. Okay, so now it's sitting off. Just the fine-tune adjustments. I know I'm picky with this, but bear with me. It's always worth it in the end. And I believe it's done. Okay, and now I've got to make sure the other one is, well, this one is pretty good. It's all lined up there. Just need a little bit of a lining there. Oh, that one's done. Okay, so they're done. So I plan on oxidizing these and buffing them, but you won't be able to see it in the video. What I'm going to do is having them oxidized and buffed for the cover shot. So when you see the cover shot, it will be oxidized and buffed. And what I mean by buffed is I'll make it have highlights by buffing it after I oxidize it, make it all dark, then bring out the highlights. I think it'll just look really good on this kind of earring. And you can choose to do that yourself. And for people that want to know what I use for oxidization, is I just use fumes of ammonia. And I do have a video of that in my tip tutorials. So if you join my memberships, which is the join button right beside the subscribe button, it's a joined paid membership for $3 a month. You can have my tips on a regular basis. If you do the $4.99 one, you get all my retired videos added to that, plus the tips. And then you have access to all my videos for $4.99 a month. And it just helps sustain my my channel, because YouTube, the way they have it set up now, you don't make, if it wasn't for my subscribers, I would make about $60 to $70 a month with my channel. And that's if I'm doing like 8 videos a month, in which I haven't been able to do recently because of my move. And those that want to update, what's happening is we have an offer on our house, and it'll be finalized next week. And hopefully everything goes through, and we will be moving in December, 5 days before Christmas. So we'll be busy packing, and I will try to do some tutorials, but you'll have to bear with me, as I know a lot of my crafting items will have to be packed away for the move. And so I appreciate you understanding everything we've been going through. And God bless. And thank you for joining me. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.